Switching gears here, and nurses could join the ongoing medic strike if the Salaries and Remuneration Commission does not implement the collective bargaining agreement in the next 1 week. The nurses' union is convening its governing council this week to ratify the strike notice that the union says has been necessitated by the government's slow response to their issues. This comes as the doctors' union, the KMPDU, said it is ready to call off the strike if the government signs what it says is its own version of a return to work formula. Once again, our very own Brenda Wanga.
The Kenya National Union of Nurses is days away from declaring a national strike for its members. The union says a meeting to be held this week by its governing council will ratify the strike notice if the government and the Ministry of Health will not have resolved two issues, touching on the employment of universal healthcare nurses on permanent and pensionable basis and the implementation of their CBA.
We have no trust in instruments from government. Government must work as a jointed institution. It cannot work as a disjointed institution. The contracts as they are today are illegal and are untenable. And therefore, when they want to say again that they are extending them, then they are extending illegalities that us as the unions cannot encourage and cannot entertain. So on this, we are also going to call upon our national governing council to give us a go-ahead to call for an industrial action, a very serious one.
Or the vice chair of the COG.
The nurses say they have given the government ample time to address these issues to no avail. And as they await the government to respond to their communication within the next 7 days, the other crisis in the health sector, the protracted doctor strike that has now surpassed the 50-day mark, seems bound to continue.
Thank you. I'll invite the head of public service.
The talks that aborted last week was seen as a silver bullet to the biting strike.
We are going to establish or form a task force that will not only look at issues of perennial challenges nature, but also anything that is outstanding around this discussion should be tabled there so that a honest discussion between the employers and Kenyans can be executed in public.
But when we came to the meeting today, the team from government said that the return to work agreement draft which we had, which did not have timelines on the issues that we had discussed, which left out critical issues.
The government has maintained that 18 out of the 19 issues raised in the strike notice by KMPDU have been resolved. But KMPDU, which now says it has crafted its version of a return to work formula based on the last meeting, says there are still some sticky points that remain unresolved. The most pressing and contentious issue remains the posting of intern doctors. While the government wants the interns posted under SRC's March 2024 circular with a 70,000 shilling stipend, the union says it is not moving from the provisions of the 2017 CBA that bestowed a basic salary of 206,000 shillings to the interns. The union says the talks between them and the national and county governments yielded results, but maintains that no return to work formula was arrived at.
It means they came up with a preformed mentality on the issues. You cannot say that a document that has been initialized is a final document that cannot be changed. So it was more of a coercion, not a negotiation, not a discussion in the meeting today.
The union says they failed to agree with the national government on the commitment to pay self-sponsored registrars, the failure to give specifics on the numbers and timelines for hiring an additional 1,000 doctors, failure to set specific timelines for the promotion of doctors, and non-committal by the Kenyatta National Hospital to convert doctors from contracts to permanent and pensionable terms.
It is time they really pulled together and thought about the Kenyan people who are suffering.
The union and the counties also failed to agree on when the counties will clear salary arrears, with the counties proposing that they do so in a period of 5 years. Other unresolved issues include the failure by the counties to give timelines on the implementation of the medical scheme, a disagreement on the contract employment of doctors, and the failure to commit to new CBA negotiations. The governments, both county and national, have maintained that they will register what they term as a return-to-work formula arrived at from the last meeting with the courts. The union also says it is ready with its own version that will be presented to the labour courts on Monday. They say if the government signs their documents, they will be ready to call off the strike. Until that happens, the strike continues. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.